I'm still surprised how often, when talking about homosexuality in the Bible, I get asked to talk about the story of the destruction of Sodom, for it has nothing to do with homosexuality. Years and years ago, I got invited to a college in London, along with leaders of other faith communities, to talk to their gay society about sexuality and religion. And it was only the gay society. We were expecting 10 to 15 people. And then the Christian Union heard about it, and suddenly the numbers swelled to a couple of dozen. And then the Muslim Society heard about it. And before we knew it, there were 300 people in the audience for what was just going to be a little group of 16. And the rabbi and I were discussing the story of Sodom. And after a little while, we'd been talking about it and taking questions. A Muslim woman in full hijab, all you could see was her eyes, said very tentatively, "Excuse me, are you talking about Lot?" I went, yes, the story of Lot. And she looked, even in her eyes, really indignant and went, "That has nothing to do with homosexuality. That is about rape and subjugation." And with that, she really summed up what the rabbi and I had just spent about 15 minutes talking about. The story of the destruction of Sodom can be found in chapter 19 of the book of Genesis. Two strangers come to the city, and Lot is sitting at the gates and invites them into his house. Initially they say no, but Lot is persuasive. Once inside his house, all the men of the city come and surround it and say to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may know them." Lot begs them not to do such a wicked thing and responds by saying, "Here are my 2 unmarried daughters. To do with them as you please." So Lot has offered to this angry crowd his daughters. Well, if this is a story about homosexuality, we first of all have to assume that all the men of Sodom were gay, because they all surrounded the house. And if they were all gay, why would Lot offer his 2 virgin daughters to appease the crowd? This isn't a story about homosexuality. This is a story about hospitality. Hospitality was essential in a desert culture, especially a nomadic one. If you travelled anywhere, you depended on the kindness of strangers, and they depended on your kindness. This is a recurring theme throughout the Hebrew scriptures. So when the men of the city surround Lot, Lot appeals to them, "Please only do nothing to these men, for they have come under the shelter of my roof." Lot is concerned because his hospitality will be called into question. That the men of the city wanted to rape the strangers, I don't question. Rape has been and still is a weapon used in times of war and conflict. Rape is never about love, it's not even about sex. Rape is about power. It's about one person having power over another. The men of Sodom wanted to exert their power, to show the strangers who were in charge, that they ruled the city, that they decided who came and went. When a man rapes a woman, he says to her, "I have power over you." When a man rapes another man, it's the same message. When the men of Sodom wanted to rape the angels, they wanted to reduce them to the status of women, passive, powerless possessions. From Lot's reaction of offering his daughters, we can see easily how valued women were in that society. In the story, the angels save Lot and his daughters from the crowd. Indeed, the angels save Lot and his daughters from the destruction of Sodom. Of course, the book of Genesis isn't the only time that Sodom is mentioned in the Bible. The prophet Ezekiel is clear about the sins of Sodom. In chapter 16, verse 49, we can read, "Behold, this was the guilt of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters had pride, surfeit of food and prosperous ease, but did not aid the poor and needy. Ezekiel says nothing about homosexuality. He does, however, talk about their failure to offer hospitality to those in need. It's true that Jesus didn't say anything about homosexuality, but Jesus did talk about Sodom. In Luke's Gospel, in chapter 10, we read how he sent out the 70, told them to take no spare provisions, no bag, no rucksack, no spare sandals, but to go and accept hospitality wherever it was offered. And he said to them, if you are refused hospitality, then leave that town and shake the dust from your feet. And then he goes on to say, I tell you, it shall be more tolerable on that day for Sodom than for that town. There are three possible reasons for the destruction of Sodom: general wickedness, pride, and inhospitality. But nowhere does the Bible say that Sodom was destroyed because of homosexuality.